August 22nd, 2022. The day dawned with the laughter of the Knight family echoing over the serene Smith and Morehouse Reservoir. The morning had been relaxing, a mixture of splashes, kayaking, and family bonding. But as they began to pack, a moment of distraction turned their joyous day into one of horror. Without warning, a truck began its ominous descent down a boat ramp. In mere moments, it was engulfed by water. From the submerged vehicle, a 9-year-old Lucas broke free, swimming desperately to shore. A panicked grandfather, Brandon Haskell, fought against the water, rescuing his toddler granddaughter, Brianna, from the vehicle. But the terror reached its peak when the family discovered that 9-year-old Paxton remained trapped inside the sinking truck, imprisoned beneath 20 feet of dark, unyielding water. At this point, I know you're looking forward to hearing how this boy was miraculously freed from this underwater prison, and we will discuss that. But the miracle of this story is not the rescue itself, which was the result of trained professionals doing what they were trained to do, but rather the miracle is that the trained professionals were right there ready to leap into action when this horrible disaster occurred. That morning, the same day, Joe Donnell and his wife Kathy were preparing for an enjoyable afternoon out at the lake when Joe checked the weather and realized that a storm was expected later. As a park ranger and an emergency responder, he took the threat of inclement weather on a lake seriously. Therefore, they quickly changed their plans. They hurriedly packed and immediately set off for the lake. Sure enough, after not nearly enough time fishing out on the lake alone in his kayak, Joe felt compelled to head into shore as a result of the storm on the horizon. It was this series of events that put himself and his wife Kathy mere yards from the drama which was soon to unfold. Kathy became aware that there was something wrong slowly as she heard repeated the word Dios, Dios, from a Hispanic family in fearful tones. She turned to see a struggling Brandon Haskell floundering in the water with his 2-year-old. Moving toward her, he declared, "I can't do this," and flung the small girl toward Kathy, who was able to catch and bring her to shore. As she moved to the safety of the shore, she wondered what could be done for the remaining child she heard was still trapped in the vehicle. But her husband Joe was already there. He said later, "As luck would have it, I was in the marina with my kayak, and there was a pickup truck parked on the boat ramp, and I noticed it slowly start moving forward to the lake. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of people screaming and yelling." With his kayak already pointed directly at the boat ramp, Donnell said he quickly paddled closer, removed his life jacket, and plunged into the water. He said, "I knew what I had to do, and I knew God put me there for a reason, and I had to do it." But he soon realized the difficulty of the task before him. He was unable to see much of anything, so he had to maneuver by feel. Adding to the difficulty, some of the truck's doors were still locked, and he was unable to break any windows. After 6 attempts, he was still unable to locate Paxton. For her part, Kathy did as much as she could do. She swam out to be near enough to speak to Joe. Each time he resurfaced, she offered words of encouragement. Joe said, "There was no way I was going to leave him in that truck and go back to shore. I couldn't have done it. Couldn't have done it. Not an option. Whether alive or dead, Joe is going to bring back that boy to his family." Then, on the 7th attempt, he felt clothing. "I knew I had him," he said. "I grabbed him, I pulled him to my body, I swam backwards out of the truck, went to the surface, and took him to shore where myself, my wife, and 2 bystanders started doing CPR." It is here that the second part of the miracle comes to fruition. Fiona Pierce and Chance Peterson were neighbors and close friends who, the day before, had been disappointed when a flat tire had ruined their own plans that they had made for a hunting trip in the backwoods. Unable to have their flat repaired properly before the end of the holiday weekend, they decided at least to take advantage of the beautiful Monday morning and go for a canyon drive. It was on their return trip from this outing that they were stopped next to the reservoir by someone pleading to know if they knew CPR. As chance would have it, they were both highly qualified, with Fiona formerly being on the New Zealand Coast Guard for 5 years and trained as a search and rescue and marine medic. It is no exaggeration for me to say that she may well have been the best qualified person within 30 miles, and fate would bring her to that exact location where she was needed, the exact time where her expertise could be utilized. It is estimated that Paxton had been under the water for 10 to 15 minutes, with no one being quite sure how long he had been without air. When Kathy and Joe dragged his body onto the shore and cleared his airway, Kathy said he was blue, he was not breathing, he had no pulse, and his body temperature was extremely low. It was another 15 minutes before the medical helicopter arrived on the scene. But when it did, Brian Bevacqua, an emergency medical technician with Summit County, said Paxton had a pulse within a minute of the time they arrived on the scene, which he said was extremely surprising. He said the quality of CPR from the bystanders was incredible. Later, Paxton arrived in the hospital in extremely critical condition but was released about a week and a half later. The responding sheriff to the scene, Justin Martinez, said, "He is a miracle among us." This is a story that is so special. They were the right people at the right time to do what they needed to do to save this young man. Paxton's grandmother later said, "For people to be where they're supposed to be is just a miracle. If they weren't there, he probably wouldn't have survived this. It took every single one of them and their part to help him survive. I think it was all meant to be. Every little part of the story is just amazing, just a miracle." Often, when we think of miracles, we think of singular moments of supernatural manifestations, and those types of miracles do occur, and I look forward to sharing more of those on this channel. But more often, and for most believers, miracles take the form of a series of small events affecting many people, as if each small ingredient in a larger recipe of a miracle, drawing them together to be in just the right place at just the right time. If we are to believe that there is a higher power orchestrating and weaving these disparate events to enable a divine intervention, like the one we've just discussed today, then we are right to wonder why. Why not just prevent the near-fatal accident to begin with? Why not rescue the child through singular miraculous means? I believe this question is best asked to loving God directly. My own reasoning here is that the collective experience of multiple people sharing in the outcome of a miracle, all actors in this well-orchestrated drama came away with bolstered belief, uplifted thoughts, greater gratitude, and were truly made better as a result, not to mention the ripple effect of lives that were touched from the initial circle. Which leads to maybe a better question. If the purpose of miracles is to support or lead to more faith in humankind, which type of miracle serves that end with more efficacy? A singular supernatural phenomenon, or the masterfully woven tapestry of a miracle, woven together with threads of hearts and lives, and all together with the divine?